Hi there, Professor Bannock. So this is my second and hopefully last time that I have to record a video over comment on the VoiceThread. We'll figure it out this week. But my question here, my big question here as I explore the kind of theme of lying, and Kantian ethics, and the article with the 10 lies by Dworkin. My big question is, is there, I feel like, is there a middle ground between Dworkin and Kant? Because Kant is so strict on lying that he believes on any cost, for any love, for any sort of for any purpose, you shall not lie. But then Dworkin, explores some issues that, I don't really feel I would lie in, or scenarios, where I don't feel like I would lie in, and I think he's a little too free-minded in terms of lying. Like, I understand that he still supports, honesty as much as it can be done, but like telling a child that their parents are okay only to find out that they're dead, things like this, these are big lies, big lies. And so my question is there a middle ground? Is there somebody who believes, and I'm sure there is, but are there philosophers and philosophies and theories that say lies are only okay when they're to protect somebody else? For example, if somebody says, am I ugly? That wouldn't be a lie, I'm sorry. But if somebody says, is this shirt too small on me? Does it make me look fat, or something like that? Or if somebody said, I liked his example of the racial discrimination testing. Something where it's for a bigger moral purpose to protect other people. Are there people that kind of are in that middle ground there? But anyway, now I want to jump into the VoiceThread. So the first formulation on lying, about how if it were made universal, it wouldn't be possible. That's, obviously very true. But again, I don't think that's the reason lying is wrong. I think it's immoral simply to mislead people, to make them, to not, it's almost a form of using them, I think, to lie, because what you're essentially doing, and apologize, sorry, I just had to plug my phone in. What you're essentially doing is you're essentially dehumanizing them in a way. You're saying that they don't, deserve to know the truth. The truth is what is. The truth is what is in the world. And if you're saying that they don't deserve to know the truth, you're essentially saying that they don't deserve the same right as you to that truth. And that could be questionable in a lot of ways. Again, like all my opinions on Kant, I think he's right in his judgments, but he's not right in the reasons for his judgments. The second formulation about lying, treating a person as a means, is exactly what I just said, and I'm looking at it now. But it also, not only does it do that, but I like how it says it's deciding for themselves how to act on it. I think a lot of times we assume how people are going to react, and that's why we hold ourselves back. That's why we overthink. That's why we lie. And in reality, that's not treating them as, an ends. It's not treating them as equal to you and your ability to handle the truth. So for the 10 lies, I just wanted to go through each, or most of them, and just kind of say my opinion and a little bit about why. So about number one, about a man lying to his wife, I think that could definitely be justified. If, because the man has good intentions for the wife. But I think it could also be handled in a different way, and I think I touched upon this in class too. I think it could be handled in a different way. The husband instead could say, we are going to this place for dinner or something, and those people would happen to be there. It would be a big surprise, but he wouldn't necessarily say, he wouldn't necessarily have to lie about where they're going. He could tell them where they're going. You just wouldn't tell them that there's a surprise party there. You could tell them it's for another purpose. So I think when we can when we can go for honesty, we should. The young child is rescued from a plane crash, I think this is a very, very, very important one, because I disagree with it. And there's not a lot of these I super strongly disagree with, but this I do, because if you think about how grave of a lie that is, saying your parents are okay when they're dead, no matter what the situation, it's so incredibly challenging. I understand that when the child is weakened, when you don't want to hurt him more than he's already hurt, this is, understandable. But at the same time, you cannot tell somebody that somebody's not alive, or when somebody's alive when they're not. Because when they do find out, it's going to cause so much more pain than it ever would have caused in the moment. And like I said, it's hard because you cannot tell a suffering child that their parents are dead. It's so hard. But if you don't tell the truth, then you feel guilty when they do find out that they found out the way they did. And then the other thing is they asked you a question. It's not like you just didn't mention it. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. I don't think that's a lie not to mention something, or to omit information. But he asked a question, and to completely lie to him is going to hurt him more in the long run. And I think arguably would hurt him in the moment, because he has this false belief, which is the most hurtful thing to have in the world. The father suffering from dementia, I think this is a justified lie, because you're just telling him something to soothe his mind, right? It's the same as if I were to say to somebody, you are a great student. You are a great student. You are a great student. And I repeated it to them, even if they were getting D's and F's, and I had them repeat that to themselves as a mantra. It's almost like a fake it till you make it scenario. It makes them happy, calmer, probably do better in school. So I think it's the same thing. You're just saying, I'll be back tomorrow. And if you don't come back tomorrow, think of it more as a broken promise than a lie, if that makes sense. And the broken promise won't affect or hurt anybody. There are promises we must break it for the betterment of others. So I think it's definitely okay. I'll probably do two more here. So a woman interviewing, because I know this video is getting long and I only have a certain cap limit on the YouTube upload, but a woman interviewing for a job in a philosophy department is asked if she intends to have children, meaning that she says it will none of her business. Believing that if she says it's none of her business, she will not get the job. She says she lied and said she did not intend to have a family. I agree with her. I think that you can't really tell them unfortunately, because of the way that, the discrimination here is already present. But if you say, I don't intend to have a family, that's a lie. But I think that you could I'm not saying she's in the wrong here, but I'm saying you could avoid that. I think you could say, I intend to have a family at a much later time, right? At a much later time, I'm focused on my job now. A much later time is relative. So it's more of a white lie because she's not or something like that. And I could formulate on that as I thought about it more. But you understand what I'm saying there. I think again, when honesty can be, you should get as close to honesty as you can. But in this situation, obviously, I don't think you should be fully honest, just because, I think you should try, but it's a tough thing, because, it wouldn't happen if there was no sort of discrimination here. And the last one I'm going to touch upon is the negotiation of the car. Or second to last one, sorry. Negotiation of the car. I think it's wrong to say you're going to pay $15,000 when you actually are going to pay $20,000, when your intended max is $20,000, because I think that I understand why it would benefit you and wouldn't harm anybody necessarily, but it's a flat out blatant lie. And I think the car person would actually be able to help you more suitably. I know you maybe wouldn't get the best result as you could have, but that's like saying with anything, if you lied about anything, you could get a better result. Doesn't mean it would make it just or right. I just completely disagree with this one. And finally, exaggerated praise on children. I think that's definitely, I don't think that's a lie. I think that when a parent loves somebody, everything they do seems incredible and imperfect and wild. And so I don't think there's such thing as exaggerated praise on our children. I don't think, if you're a good, virtuous parent, I don't think your purpose in in finding the good in what they've done is to boost them in the future. It's to tell them how you're feeling. If they get a C on a test, you saw them studying though, or you saw that they've been going to class, or you find the good in that, and you say, C's an average grade, C's are, lots of people get C's sometimes, you're doing great, I'm so proud of you, right? That's not exaggerating. I think that's just finding the good. And I think we do that when we love someone that deeply. I don't think that's a form of lying at all. So a lie is something that one believes to be false with the intention, or one believes to be false with the intention of giving someone true. So yes, I definitely agree with that. I think that's a very simple definition. I think it works. I don't think there's anything more to it than that. I think we all do lie sometimes when we're nervous, under pressure, anything, anything can cause a lie. But, I think in general, it is immoral to lie. But I do agree, with I do agree with the idea that, not like Kant's, but with the idea that some lies are definitely justified. I think I do. It's so hard, because I think in the moment I can say that, but then I get this intuition that no, you shouldn't lie. I think it's only just when it's absolutely necessary to protect somebody. So if someone tried to kill somebody and you needed to lie. But no, in general, I just think honesty is the best policy, and we should all try to follow it. I don't think it's as bad as murder. And I think that some moral judgment should be part of... what do you mean by should moral judgments be part of the definition? I'm a little confused on what you mean by that. Does that mean morality should be part of... Or the definition, I'm sorry. Do you believe that morality should be part of the definition? Does that mean simply that we should include, the scenario and what it entails in the definition? I'm a little confused with that. It definitely takes away the ability of the rational agent to make their own decisions based on the truth. We need to stop assuming what people think. Uncertainty about... So for the utilitarian considerations, I think it's definitely important to have honor and intimacy in a relationship. I think it's, the effects of a lie can go far and beyond what we think they will. I think we can impact someone so much more when we lie than we know. And I think those are very good considerations to have. I don't understand the systematic effects if we were made a rule not to lie is what you're saying there. And obviously, I don't think there's any one thing that makes all lies wrong, other than, exactly that. You're taking away the ability of someone to be a rational agent, and they're just in hearing the lie. Is there any one thing that makes all lies wrong, though? I don't think so, because I think there are some lies that aren't wrong, like lying to protect someone's life. And is it always best to act morally? Of course, I think getting our hands dirty sometimes is acting morally. I still don't think, like I said, back in the Aristotle unit, I don't think that's going against morality because we're doing the right thing for the best cause. Thank you.